Hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin. Really a slow motion day. It was a day in slow motion, especially compared to what happened yesterday with this rapid rally, which started down here at around, when was it? That was Wednesday, but we started that rally overnight and it just kept going. Yeah, it just kept going, and then we had this quite sharp pullback. Not as sharp as this decline here into the Wednesday lows, but still quite substantial. And so far we only have a three-wave rally again from the intraday low, which formed in our support zone. So the price is already trying to reverse in our support zone. Yeah, I think it's important to acknowledge that the pullback was, I think, a little stronger, even though, hey, you know, we're holding support, and it was a little stronger than it would be ideal in my view. Yeah? So a few of you have asked me why I've got this larger support zone. Well, it is the 50% retracement at 58,456. That's really key. 50% retracement of this third wave, which started down there. That's key. That's support without looking at any kind of microstructure. But you're right, or some of you were, you know, who sent me messages. Of course, I did not draw the fib tool for the micro patterns. I did add that later today when I posted some updates, but for the fourth wave here internally within a third wave, yeah, the support is 59,664. But I didn't really focus on that so much. I focused more on the bigger picture, find that a bit more reliable. But even here we did hold support, okay? But it was very deep for that internal wave 4, which is why I highlighted at some point earlier today that I'm getting a bit concerned that support might break. And it's still holding, but the pullback, it just doesn't have the right look for an impulse. My view was that really in a third of a third wave rally in Bitcoin, we shouldn't have stopped there. Okay, it reached my target. I showed you that yesterday, right? That 62,420 level, the first ideal target for a third wave in a third wave, or for this third wave. But ideally, a little stronger would have been more beneficial, clearer. And that pullback is quite large, especially compared to the wave 2 that we had. So I'm not convinced that this is really an impulse. Now, that's not bearish. Someone asked me earlier today why we're suddenly bearish. No, I'm not bearish. I just want to raise caution because it might morph. I see the tendency, I see the risk. It could morph from an impulse, a potential impulse, into a diagonal structure. What would that mean? So obviously, but I put that into the update earlier today. Ideally, we would now rally from somewhere, you know, somewhere from here, from the support area. We would rally to the 66,850 level because that's the 1.38 extension of the larger third wave, or well, actually of the 1-2 setup, but it's the first ideal target of the larger third wave here, and would then get another 4-5 pattern. That would be ideal, but all I said was I see the risk. It looks a little bit as if support will break. It's holding at the moment, but the reaction to support hasn't been convincing yet. All right, and I just see the risk it could morph into a diagonal pattern. Now, would that be bearish? Not necessarily, but it's the first step to breaking. And that takes us to this blue wave count. I'm not sure if it's really clearly blue. Whoa, not that. Didn't want to do that. Is it blue enough? That's the question. Okay. Okay, so wanted to highlight this here, and it's here the B wave pullback. Okay, that B wave pullback could be the pullback that will happen maybe over the weekend. Okay, so we might be dealing with a diagonal. So if it's an impulse, we shouldn't actually go much lower. But if it does, then we're likely dealing with that diagonal pattern, which I find highly likely. Okay, and it might be doing that right now, but it seems highly likely. So because also Ethereum is working on a diagonal and some altcoins. Now that doesn't make it, that makes it less clearly bullish. It doesn't make it bearish. But I showed you already in the last video that if we're forming that B wave pullback, and it's not a prediction, I just highlight the risk, okay? be prepared for it mentally, financially. The invalidation point is then 54,600, that red line there. So this is sort of the bigger picture. That means, okay, we still have a fallback option, a plan B, from a bullish point of view, but it's less clearly bullish if we break support. And then we have a clear invalidation point to watch. I mean, if that level breaks there at 54,600, yeah, I have to say, I mean, there isn't really... That would open the door to 43K. At least 43K will then be support, not necessarily target, but there's a risk it will, you know, get down to that level. Now, then earlier today, I mean, we saw a small breakout here. Here, you see that market moved down today, and we broke out of this trend line, which showed a small breakout. The question is now, is the retest. So is it going to hold or not? We'll have to see. Doesn't look good right now. So it might break it, and then this could take us down further and maybe be that washout. Might be that washout that could send us down lower in this blue B wave. Okay, certainly doesn't look like a healthy retest of a trend line, but we'll see. But yeah, we had this potential breakout, and it did rally quite a bit. You know, even to 61K, but too weak when we look at the bigger picture. You know? So this is now the retest. Let's see if it holds. If we now break higher above the intraday high, no, that's not the intraday high, but the last high at 61,000, yeah, this could send us to the upper trend line there to round about, yeah, maybe even 62K. But for now, it looks rather like that retest is failing and we're coming down directly. So that again, it shows why I wanted to raise that caution earlier today, because I saw already the problem with this structure. I put that out on Discord earlier today. It was a longer text. Sorry. I did highlight here, although the price has not broken below support, the recent drop is getting quite extended. And this is not typical behavior in a third wave. This is why it's important to remain calm and avoid getting overly excited by fast moving candles. I was highlighting or talking about the candles from yesterday. Focus on watching the levels one at a time. So as long as we're holding support, but obviously price action on an intraday basis is very dynamic. So we just have to take a look at these levels every, you know, we're looking here at 30-minute charts, you know, things are changing quickly. So ideally, the best case scenario would be a move up to that 66.8K level that I mentioned. So yeah, and lots of other stuff I don't need to read, but shortly afterwards I highlighted it looks like we are not going to hold support. Support is not broken yet, so said just my opinion, right? Just my opinion. Opinions shouldn't be traded. So I just highlighted here my subjective perspective, but yeah, we'll see how it develops. I mean, this is now from the low, as I said, a 3-wave rally. It did fail the retest, as it seems. The candle isn't closed yet, but we'll see how it develops. I mean, this is just noise, really, essentially. I said to you before that 59,418 level is important support. Below that level, we've got 58,456, but already below 59,418, I think a diagonal pattern in blue will become more likely, and it could morph into, or it could then form an ABC structure. So A wave down, B wave up, C wave down. That is definitely something to watch. Here, like this, yeah. So be aware of it. That B wave could even extend, but I think if we break below the intraday low at 59.6K roughly, that could increase the risk that we're coming down. Now, if we then say, okay, maybe wave B has topped, the 100% extension takes us to round about, it's not that far away. It's like 57,946. So it's still far away from the invalidation point. That's the 100% extension. Not that we have to get there, but it's a likely target for blue wave C of B. That's the update about Bitcoin. Hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. And if you really like the content, and please check out the channel membership. Also, make sure that you follow us on Instagram and Twitter for additional content. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.